Hi, it's Susie from Pink Diamond Guide. How are you today? You've just got me for a reading today. Ricky will join in again with a reading a little bit later on, but I thought I would just jump in, and I've been talking to our lovely community about what's really the issues that are pressing right now for Divine Feminine, and I thought I would deliver a reading on my own, and then we'll get Ricky to join me a little bit later, and we'll have a read from the Divine Masculine point of view. But there's a lot going on right now, and I think there's some really interesting questions that are being raised. And I did look. I took yesterday. I took a day off from really sharing my energy with people because I felt the need to really meditate on everything that was happening in energetically, and preparing for the shifts that are coming up. Like when Mercury goes into Leo, it's like literally like communication on crack, not to use a horrible term, but it just goes off. It's a real push. Mercury is an outward going energy, so it's like communication wants to express itself, but at the same time you're going to have Venus still in Cancer. Both of them are sitting in Cancer at the moment, which is why we're feeling these big intense energies, like we want to connect and we want to be intimate. But when that moves into Leo, I think on the 23rd, when Mercury goes into Leo, it's like it opens the doorway. It becomes a much more action oriented energy. So it's I think sort of the wave of energy really hit me yesterday, and I wanted to sort of settle in on it and see what I could take out of it, and do a reading just with what I've learned and what I'm settling into. One of our lovely community, Joni, asked me a really pointed question. When I was going through my ascension to the point that I am now, did I get exhausted? And I'm going to, quite frankly, I still do. When these waves of energies hit, I give myself permission to tap out. And I know that's not always easy when you've got full-time jobs and families and responsibilities, a whole box of guys. But I do, my family, I've been going through ascension for so many years. They know that if I need to tap out and meditate and download, I do have that grace to do that. So yes, I get exhausted, like waves of exhaustion wash over me, and I get the ringing in the ears and like the need to bring the message forward. And yesterday was one of those days for me where I really just needed to let that information really really digest what was happening, before I came back and did some more readings and shared with the collective. And really what they're bringing through to me is that the next soul cycle really will have a punch, and communication is indicated. So let's have a look at what that communication might look like in this reading. We do read from the perspective of the Divine Feminine, and we are really focusing on twins that are in separation with little to no contact and are suffering. You're really feeling the sting of the connection, and what we're all about, focusing on the ascension journey to get you out of suffering. Yes, pain is still part of the process. Yes, figuring out what to do with how you think about your twin, that's all part of the process. And we want to help unpack some of those communication. Hopefully it's better in July. We unpack those ideologies for you in our readings. So from the perspective of the Divine Feminine, then I'll draw some cards for Divine Masculine, and we'll finish with a Divine Love Oracle, and hopefully give you some really poignant clues into what's coming up next. Let's go. Righto, we've got the Nine of Pentacles. We've got the Death card. We've got the Three of Pentacles. We've got the Three of Wands. We've got the World. Wow, this is going to be a cracker. And we've got the Ace of Wands. We've got the Emperor, the Eight of Swords, the Four of Pentacles, Queen of Cups. She's there again. Six of Swords there again. Strength card. Look, you are really getting some repeating messages, aren't you, Divine Feminine, about what this process looks like moving forward. This ideals of inner strength. And again, like this, I speak religiously about the idea of being two separated particles. So, and there's the void space in between, and what has to happen in between. I mean, it's not a nothing that's in between, and depending on which twin is putting energy towards it is the process that happens for the connection. And by and large, let's say it's a Divine Feminine, she's been filling the gap with the chaser energy. So that's obsessing about the connection, thinking, feeling, and making it all about the person and versus it being all about the connection. So when Divine Feminine stands up in her strength and she goes, well, I'm going to stand in my version and in my pillar of this connection, it actually leaves the ability for the universe to do the work that's required for Divine Masculine. Say he's on this side, he'll start to close the gap. You know, eventually the ideal scenario is that you both close this gap and you both rely on that inner strength of the divine. So Divine Feminine, we have had this push from you where you've closed the void on behalf of both parties in the connection, and you've had to feel the full weight of the journey crashing down on you. And now we're saying, actually, I'm going to stand up tall in my side of the connection, and I'm actually going to pull a little bit away, which will make your tower tip towards having to do your part of the work for the connection. And eventually we'll bring this into balance so we're both holding our part of the mission. I hope that makes sense. If this is mission pushing down on the connection, this is the goal is to get you both supporting that mission, not just the Divine Feminine filling the gap for both. If you keep filling the gap for both Divine Feminine, what does the masculine have to? He'll never have to turn around and do his part of the work. You want him to turn around and do his part of the work? You need to leave a gap for him to feel the pull of this divine mission. Righto, I love, we've got the Queen of Cups here again as well. Like I'm very vocal about how the Queen of Cups is the most love that we feel in tarot, and it's a pure love, it's a universal love, it's love that's able to be given without toxicity. You could pick up that cup and drink from it any given day. You know, well, it's given by the Queen of Cups is a pure drink of water, and here you are, you know, under the, with all of the strength that you've been pushed through, that you've had to rise up in, having the weight of the divine pushing down on you, you are still a pure cup of water. Even when you pull your love back, which feels counterintuitive, to take your love and go, I'm going to stand up on my own, even though I still hold the weight of the connection. I'm going to let you feel, Divine Masculine, what it's like to be under the weight of this mission and the push from the divine. I'm still a cool drink of water, but what I'm doing is I'm taking everything that I've learned, everything that I know, and the push from the universe, Divine Feminine, is that you leave that void. You don't fill the gap for the Divine Masculine. You move away, and that's what the Six of Swords, that's what the push is. And it feels counterintuitive. I know it feels counterintuitive because I've been there. I know what it feels like to turn your back on something that you think has this divine element. You've never known a love like it, and you feel rattled by the thought of pulling your energy out of the connection or not keeping your eye on the person and what they're doing and the hurt that they've caused. The universe is asking you to pack up your Six of Swords, every little bit of pain, every little bit of thought, feeling, emotion, and just face the divine. Sail on this divine sea, the quantum sea, and go to the source itself, the creator, and go toe to toe and say, this is what's hurt me. This is what I know. This is what is mission. What am I doing? What is this connection about? Take it away from having to be all about you holding the full weight of the mission. Take it back to the divine and say, right, I've done my bit. I'm sailing back towards you. I'm face to face. This is what I know. Give me some peace, please. Now, the Six of Swords has that lovely energy of sailing away from troubled waters or sailing away from pain. And that's truly what these energies want to do. They want to bring you into that cool cup of water where you're sharing the load of the mission with the Divine Masculine. That's the push on that first level. Let's have a look. And under the deck we've got here, look, Healthy Selfish. I love the Four of Pentacles. Healthy Selfish, I call this card. And look what it comes up in, Divine Feminine. We've got the Eight of Swords, which we talk about being this mental prison, and like, but like in this representation of it, look how split the swords are. Right? So this is your overthinking, and this is the mess that you've been bound up in, focusing on the connection or on the person, not the mission. But you can get on this path at any point. Look how wide they are. You can walk straight through those swords and not even graze yourself. Shake off the bondage of the person and the way that they've hurt you. because that's what holds you in a prison. If you can shake off the bondage of the person and the pain, not the pain, the suffering, because the pain is still an element. I'm not going to deny that. But you have to know what to do with the pain. That's the kicker. Pain will continue to arise. Where you get free from suffering is when you know what to do with the pain. What do? You take action. Masculine energy. The action is what brings you into balance. Now, whatever action it is that you can take, it's healthy selfish. For me, I'm an artist by trade. It's what I poured my frustrations into. I would be seeking knowledge, and then I would create art about it. These tarot cards were part of my healing and growing, like understanding the energy of the tarot, and then I'd sit and draw it till it finally became something truly masculine based, and I turned it into a proper tarot deck. So whatever it is for you, whether it is you're learning about meditation, ascension, what soulmate journeys are, what the planet's ascension is, whatever information it is. Excuse me if you can hear my grandson or granddaughter, I think it is, in the background. But healthy selfish is focusing on the things that you need to do for you to be on mission. Then get into the space where you're going, I want to get free of this mental prison. This mental prison is all of the things that you're thinking about that your twin flame has done to keep you bound. Whether they're with another person, or they're focused on their job, or they're, however they've caused you to get up in your head about why they're in either no contact or very, very little contact. Healthy selfish, meditate on it, get answers from the divine, and figure out why you need to understand separation and why you need to understand oneness, and then do something with it. Journal it, paint about it, write about it, whatever you can do for you to have your hands, your mind, and your soul active is when the feminine and the masculine come into a level of balance. And you've got a Queen of Cups here, so you've got a very feminine energy and you've got a very masculine energy. So when you can embody both of these energies in a daily way, that's when you're starting to live in true balance, and where you're not holding up the weight of the connection. You're just going to bring that into one vessel, masculine and feminine, working in alignment with each other within the one vessel. That's the kicker, is we're not worrying about what this other vessel is going to do. What they're doing over here is honestly, we're going to say it's none of your business. And that's harsh, right? Because you love this person. It feels counterintuitive for me to say what they're doing is none of your business. What they say about you, what they think about you, the love they hold for you, it's actually at this point none of your business. Until it comes into balance and it is your business again, focus on the task of coming into mission. And am I saying don't think about them? No, I'm saying healthily think about them. Healthy selfish, going, yes, this connection means a lot to me. Some days it causes me pain. I'll allow myself to feel it, but I'm going to put it in a healthy space in a day-to-day way. I am not going to fill the void for both of us by obsessing about this person, because every thought, feeling, action, emotion is got an energy that is pushing out in front of you. Right? It has a biophonetic response that is pushing out in front of you and is creating sacred geometry out in front of you, which is conspiring with the universe to build your reality. Now, if you want to tell the universe that you want to continue to be a feminine who holds the weight for both the twins, continue chasing, continue obsessing. You can ride that wave all the way into eternity, and your divine masculine will never feel the pull to turn around and start to close the gap towards you. So you want to close the gap for them, that's your free will. You can chase and obsess all day long, but if you want to turn the tide, get focused on your pillar. Get focused on bringing your masculine and feminine energies into balance under your one pillar, and what it will do, it will tip and close the void. What happens to one? I do this particle theory all the time. If you've started off as one, and the split happened on that very original level. Now, split particle theory tells us a force applied to one, the divine, the pressure coming from the divine. If it's shaking one particle, the other particle, they're 20 miles apart in the latest experiment, 20 miles. And they're applying a force on one particle, and the particle over here is reacting. What's in between them at this moment? You can't see what's in between them. It's a void, it's invisible. But what we know is there must be something, because the force applied here is shaking up the particle that's over here. And this is the theory behind twins, that they started off as one soul blueprint that is now in two vessels. Apply a force on one, the other is reacting, right? So if the force applied on this one is now going to be, I'm going to say, like I want to bring into balance my masculine and feminine into this one vessel, and not have to be the one to go. This pillar is going to react if you make a deliberate conscious action to pull away. They will feel the pull. They will feel the void. There is not nothing in between. It is a thing. There is something in the nothing that if you apply a force to one, the other's going to feel it. Oh, it gets me up on my high horse, I know, but like, this is the stuff that I really dug into, that helped turn things around. And like, harmonious union is achievable, even though the actions that get you there feel counterintuitive. And look at this push from the universe. Strong feminine energy, working independently, knowing what her mission is, knowing what her task is. She does not actually need her other pillar to be strong and capable. Look, she goes, I can take this march on my own. I can, and I will. And that energy will not, it cannot, if this is a true twin flame connection, and if you're watching the information that I deliver, honestly, I'm not a bubble love enthusiast. I don't sugarcoat these connections. I tell you, they're hard work. They're not easy, but is the reward there? Yeah, it is. How do you get the best out of these connections? Divine feminine. If you are in no contact and you are in a twin flame, this is the answer. Focus on you. That's not to say you can't think of your twin. That's not to say you can't hold them with love. It's to say that do not fill the void between you with your obsession. Because if you do, it will not turn them around. So under this fresh new energy, where it's highly likely that communication will be elevated, that means you are going to get a push that's going to make you want to close that void. And it is going to feel hyper counterintuitive to stay on your path. Venus is in Cancer. You're going to feel like connecting intimately with your twin. You're going to want to reach out. You're going to want to connect. You're going to want to chat. But if you do that work for them, they don't have to. They don't have to. And the patterns of these cycles are that divine feminine goes first into understanding and raises her vibration, gets on her path independently, learns all that she can about ascension, because she's about to lead humanity into the higher vibration. Your goal is to understand separateness, and your goal is to understand oneness, that you are one with the all and the everything, the creator, the divine, your twin, this table. You are one with it all, and your number one goal is to understand what that means. And here it's understanding separateness and getting to work. That's a push from the universe. What is that going to do? It's going to look like you've changed your mind about your twin. Look at the death card coming out. And look, I love seeing the death card here for you, because this is the push that we're feeling, is to stop the chase mentality, or stop the obsession about who they are and what they've done or where they might be, and start accepting. If you are a true twin, there's a big process to go through of accept and surrender. Accept that you are a twin. Accept that this journey has a certain pattern to it, and that there's plenty of like challenges, obstacles. You've probably lived a really difficult life. You probably felt like the black sheep in your family, that you didn't quite fit in. Everyone else around you looks stable and solid, and they're in more traditional relationships, but yours seem to be in free fall all the time, and then bam, you crash into your twin. What the hell is this journey, right? To get to accept and surrender is to accept, righto, I'm on my soul ascension journey, is to be a twin flame. Now, I'll say it over and over again, that every soul on this planet is on a soul ascension journey. The one that you're on, if this information is resonating with you, is to understand separateness and oneness and unconditional love as a twin. The death card comes to say, divine feminine, you're getting it, you're understanding that it's not about the bubble love or the fantasy or the romance. You get that. I promise you, you get that. That is your reward. You get that, but you also get the ascension process, and it is when you completed the ascension process that you get the, you know, the lighter journey of being a twin. Not that everything is like, you know, sunshine and roses. Like, life still comes at you. You still got to get up and work inside the financial matrix, and you've got to figure out how you're going to get through your day to day. It doesn't mean that like Eden just opens up in that moment, but I tell you what, it definitely, it's a lighter energy once on the other side. It's definitely, the promise is there that you come into a more harmonious union for sure. But one of the big processes to understand and embrace is accept and surrender. Accept that you are on this journey. Accept that the door to unlock your harmonious union is ascension. So that acceptance of going, my journey is, you know, is going to be fraught with pain. But do we want to leave you in suffering? No. Are you going to get to a tipping point where you stand up and refuse to carry the weight for both twins? This is it. This is why the death card's here. I refuse to carry the weight for me and my twin another day. I want harmonious union where we carry it together. And this harmonious union where you're both carrying the weight will not come without acceptance, surrender. And yes, the push is that you have to understand separateness, and this is upon you right now. What is in your soul space? This is what I'm talking about, twins. Divine feminine, the Three of Pentacles. And I love, in my representation of it, like, I'll see if I can see in there, I've actually drawn a set of twins in that scenario. It might be a little bit hard to see, but up there, just in here, that is my representation of a set of twins. And here I've got this ideal of the divine, right? But it could also be that this person is you in your vessel, and you carry inside of you this twin flame energy. Now, the Three of Pentacles, when I'm reading for twin flames, I call it the divine, the masculine, and the feminine. So these three pentacles are the trinity of the masculine, the feminine, and the divine, all working in harmonious union. But how do they manifest? One vessel carries both energies, the masculine and the feminine. So in your soul space, divine feminine is the trinity. You're understanding that you carry it all within you. The divine, the masculine, the feminine, it all sits in your soul space, and with this pair in this heart space, you know what to do with it. You're holding it with affection, but you're not obsessing about it. You know that you have a role to play in mission, that your job is to come down here to earth, and like I say, it's like you've got the machete in hand, the feminine went first, and you're carving a path, not only for your divine masculine, but for all of humanity. And our soul tribe gathers together to support each other and educate and understand, because we're all going through similar experiences. And it is not the soul path of everybody to understand twin flames. But what you're doing in your soul space right now, you're holding the doctrine of twin flames, and that's to say that there's patterns and there's accepted ideals that come with twin flames. And you're getting to the point where you are accepting and surrendering into the concepts and the ideals around twin flames, and you're starting to work them. You're starting to work them and understand them, instead of just being obsessed about the person and the romance of the ideal connection that you feel like you found yourself in. What is your challenge? The Three of Wands. So now, if you've gone into success, accept and surrender over here, you go, righto, if that's the goal over there, harmonious union, where's the path I walk to understand it? Where do I get on my ascension path so that I'm moving in the direction that I'm meant to be in? If I'm not going to focus on the person, but somehow I've got to hold that person in unconditional love and figure out what it is to all of the lessons that life has thrown at me, and I've got graduations to go through, and purge and burn, and dark night of the soul, and all of those things that twins go through. And you're at the point of going, well, all right, I accept that this is my ascension path. I accept it's not about the person. If that's the wand I'm walking with, how do I bring it towards me? What does it mean to do the work? How do I truly get on this path? And here's the divine hiding behind the mountain, going, peekaboo, can you see me over here? Follow me this way. So the challenge for you is really going every day, what is the step that I have to take? Am I supposed to be meditating? Am I supposed to be... And another great question Joni posed to me was, did I continue to watch tarot readings while I was going through ascension? And did I... what was I learning and doing? What were steps on the path? And, my reply is absolutely I continued to watch tarot readings. Because, but there's a kicker to that. I watched the tarot readings that were energy based. So if there was clickbait on the title that just went, your twin's coming back, yay, you're going to get communication. Like if it was just the fluff and nonsense, I'm going to confess I would watch those sometimes just because it made me feel good. But I knew at the base of it that if I hadn't done the work that wasn't going to make sense. So I would more often than not look to energy readers who were looking at universal forces, breaking down doctrine, and not just making it about the romance of twin flames, or just looking at the surface of the cards. I really wanted to understand the push behind the forces. If the cards were coming out, why were they coming out? What was happening astrologically? What was the bigger picture scenarios? Not just the the fluffy outcome that your twin's coming back and that you're going to hear from them. We all know that if you complete this journey, your twin's coming back and you're going to hear from them. We know that. That's the promise of the doctrine. Excuse me. So if you do what's required of you and get on mission, that the promise of the doctrine is that twins come together, get on mission, and raise the vibration of the planet. So was I watching readings? I was, but I was very, very picky and choosy about the ones that I would listen to. And I would caution against any reader who just said your twin is coming back to you, you'll receive communication, and there wasn't a solid justification, because this card could be, oh, your twin is coming back. It really could be. But if you don't factor in everything else that is at play universally, if you don't factor in the soulmate cycle and the wave of ascension that people are on, the level of there's a bucket load of things to weigh up when you're looking at readings or getting advice from somebody. So I say, yes, I did continue to look at readings, but I was very picky about what I would let seed into my soul. I was a big fan of Alison Lassard. I listened to Patricia McNeely, Jeff and Shalia, trying to think of the ones that were really poignant. But now I love Steve's Love Tarot. He's amazing. He can be a bit crude at times for sure, but he's on point with energy and he leads with energy. And I think twins really need to understand that as a baseline versus just the clickbait titles of going, your twin is coming back. Because if you want to have that in your head that at some point harmonious union is available, but if it's the only reason that you're clicking onto tarot, then that wasn't what I was watching. But absolutely each to their own. It's a free will thing. So sometimes just hearing that message, and I'll admit I would sometimes click on it just because it made me feel good, and I wanted to hear that he was coming back, or that we were going to have harmonious union, and that if I kept working, that this twin flame path would eventually make sense. So is the kicker there is going, what does this one look like? What do I have to do? How do I get the steps in place to get myself on the right path for harmonious union? Look at this. I love this. The advice card from Spirit is the world. Divine Feminine, you have got everything that you absolutely need in your toolkit to make this ascension. See this over here? Here's the ascension staircase. And when the world comes in, what I was mentioning before, especially like when we're talking about the Three of Pentacles there, is that the journey to understanding twin flames can feel like a series of graduations, dark nights of the soul, purge and burn. And each time that you come out of those ascension sort of phases, that you come out with more information. So what their advice is saying here is that you've learnt enough on your journey to take these steps of ascension that you're being called into now, even if it feels like you're just marching alone and it feels counterintuitive to what your heart thinks it wants. You just want your twin flame back. What is this pushing away on my own? How is that ever going to get them to come back? And this is where quantum mechanics comes in and goes, if you close the gap, if you do all the work on their behalf, then they have no need to feel the pull to come and help you do the work with them. This comes in to say you've got everything you need, absolutely everything you need to make the next part of the journey, and you are in a graduation of sorts in pulling away from obsession about the person, closing the door on yesterday, understanding who your twin is and the role that they play in your ascension journey and what your mission is, and figuring out, how do I do the next part of my ascension? Spirit says, I'll show you. Trust me. Trust me. See this push from underneath the deck? Where was it? Six of Swords. Trust me. Sail your boat towards the divine. We've got everything we need to get you to the next level of ascension. Trust me, I'm going to take you out of the choppy waters where the suffering exists. I'm going to bring you out of that into clearer waters, and we're going to make the next part of our ascension journey together. Righto. What is a likely outcome? A fresh perspective. Look at this. Ace of Wands. So this is, it's fiery energy, isn't it? The Ace of Wands. And look at what we're moving into in Leo season. So we've got, Leo is a fire sign, and it's also Mercury, the closest planet to the sun. So we've got a lot of, and then we've got the Ace of Wands as a likely outcome. For mine, this is going to be communication on crack. Not that that's the best way. I mean, it's probably a terrible saying, but how else do we express that this is going to be a firecracker of a season for communication? What's also at play, that Venus and Cancer, they're dancing together still, so it's still influencing us with our, how we feel about our intimate connections. And then you've got this firecracker lit underneath. So divine feminine, I'm going to suggest that might be, it's going to be tough to want to stay in this energy and just stay focused on your journey. But what I also want to say is you've got everything you need to get through this process and make the next part of the ascension journey. My suggestion to you is that if you can pull this off, if you can stay standing tall with all of this pull against you and just stay focused on understanding who you are and what you're all about, I would not be surprised if it kicks off the next phase of the journey in a very, very positive way. This is firecracker energy. It's your likely outcome. I like it. I like it a lot. Okay, let's have a look and see. Ricky normally draws these cards for us, but today you've just got me on my own. So I'm going to shuffle these just a minute and just see what we've got. I'm going to push them a little bit up. What we've got for divine masculine, what's playing out against him as we move into this next wave of energy. Let's have a look. I'm super interested to see what comes out here. Yeah, look. 3 of Cups, 4 of Cups, Queen of Swords. We've got the Hanged Man. We've got the Death card. And we've got the 5 of Pentacles. What do we got under there? 7 of Cups, Ace of Pentacles, 2 of Cups, Page of Wands, King, and the 4 of Wands. Oh, and look, there he is again, that Ace of Wands. It wants to tip off. And we've got that, the Emperor is just under there too. I'm not going to dig that far. I'm going to sit here. Look at this as a base level. We've got our 4 of Wands card. Look at this. Happy unions. I'm not kidding, Divine Feminine. I'm really not. When you step into this energy and this energy, look what the universe wants to kick off in the divine masculine's energy. And I love this, it's a very clear 1111 in this in the Rider Waite. And look, here's our happy divine couple. There they are, happy, and look at the strong structure behind them. It has a very solid foundation. You have all of this lovely greenery that suggests abundance, and our 1111, our spiritual number that says we're on our path, on our way. And this is the push from underneath the deck from the universe in the next cycle. Look at him wanting to get to work, wanting to figure out what these unions are all about. Don't you just love that? Don't you just love that this King of Pentacles is really starting to take up? I mean, this is the push from the universe. This is not how he's actually presenting. So we'll have a dig into that a little bit more. But the push from the universe is to get him on to helping you hold up the holding up the weight. Look, he's going to do his bit. He's going to help you with his strength to hold up his part of the bargain. The King and the Queen doing their thing on divine mission. I like that that's pushes come from both of you from underneath the deck. That's super cool. Okay, Page of Wands. Does he necessarily, like, he's at the starting line as a Page of Wands, really, isn't he? Like he hasn't really formally, look here, you've got the likely outcome as the Ace of Wands, which is, fresh new firecracker energy. But the Page here, he's not really, he sits at the starting line. Look at him, he's holding that wand in his hand, and he looks mightily proud of himself that he's got some kind of a understanding of, I've got some kind of a push forward here. I want to get to work. And I mean, the King is all over that, isn't he? The King has mastery. Page of Wands is like, what is this passion? What is this fire? What am I supposed to do with it? I know that it's kicking me along to want to do the work, and my twin over there, are we meant to be together? Are we meant to have these unions? But I'm just a page. What do I actually do with it? So for mine, that's still like the push from the universe is still that, it's a spark. It's a spark of information that gets you moving. What's the next level? Next level of connection, we've got the Ace of Pentacles, we've got the Seven of Cups, and we've got the Two of Cups. Ace of Pentacles, look, the divine saying, here is your mission. Here is your mission. This is what I want you to do. I want you to understand that the purpose of your soul ascension in your current incarnation is to be a twin flame. How do you be a twin flame? You've got to figure out what that path is, because it's not easy, isn't it? If you're sitting here and you've got all of these options, but you don't know what any of that means, here he's going, oh my gosh, what does it mean to be a twin flame? I've got this wand in my hand, which is fire energy, and he's moving into a very fiery energy with Mercury and Leo dancing. I hope I've been saying Mercury and Leo all this way. If I haven't, that's what I've meant to say. I think I've said Mercury and Capricorn a couple of times. Anyway, but Capricorn is our Emperor anyway, so it might be one of those Freudian slips, and that's meant to be there anyway. Ace of Pentacles, get on mission, divine masculine. You don't know what that is. You and your twin will figure that out together. So that push here is to go figuring out what all of these options are for twins to be working together. And at the moment, it's just a spark of inspiration. But the push from the universe is, I want you on mission. Yes, there's options that need to play out to figure it, but your twin is definitely one of them. Now, you can be a twin flame and be on mission and still tap out of the relationship. Like, I want that to be understood. Like, twins can be on mission if their twin is on the other side of the veil. Twins can be on mission if their union never manifests in the 3D. They can tap out of the relationship. They can. But by and large, I mean, the information that's been downloaded, the doctrines, the bulk of information says 95% of twins who are incarnating at this point and on this mission to raise humanity will take up the option of being in a 3D physical union at this particular time. So, and I do want to shout out to those twins who know that their twin is on the other side of the veil. We talked to a few of you about this particular stuff, and I know that you're doing it particularly tough right now. So we're sending big love out to you, and you know, you're ascending too, and you're getting on mission too. These energies are not outside of you, even though your twin is not 3D and manifest. These energies still apply to you. You're going to raise and ascend with your soul tribe, and get on mission and do your work. Absolutely, you are. Okay, let's have a look at the universe. Look, see this here? And when I read the Three of Cups, particularly in a twin flame, it can have a couple of representations, absolutely, but we're focused on twin flames here, aren't we? So how I look at this one is the divine masculine, the feminine, and the divine itself in a happy dance. And we go, look, if this is what the push on the universe is for divine feminine, to get on mission by yourself and do the work you need to on your own. Divine masculine's got, hey, hang on, aren't we all celebrating together? Where did you go? Why are you pulling away? Why are you creating this void in between? Aren't we all supposed to be celebrating together? Why have you stopped chasing? And that's not necessarily that they're feeling it or representing it on a 3D scale. You might not necessarily see it with your own eyes, but I'd almost guarantee that you feel it, because look at this. Again, you've got this message from the divine going, I have a cup of love here for you. Do you want to start to figure out what's in what I'm offering? You know, you got your head down looking at what's going on over here, but what's being represented over here is that the divine is trying to push a new ideal. So what I would suggest, because this is like how they're showing up in the real world, like their physical representation of how they are in the real world. So I would suggest that they're a little bit distracted right now. They're looking at what they've got in front of them, and even though they're not kicking them over or moving away from them, they're sitting and they're contemplating, and they're going, if the push from the universe is this, my twin flame, me, and the divine all dancing happily and merrily, this is what I'm seeing is in this cup, right? Cool. If that's in this cup, this is what he might be receiving in his daydream. But he's looking at his reality going, well, I'm not going to kick over what I've got here just yet till I truly figure out what's in this cup. But I would not be surprised at all if his daydream space or his 5D space or however this push is coming against him, that this is what's in the cup. You, him, the divine, what is this? Okay, what have we got in the soul space? The Queen of Swords. I actually think that this is why we're feeling a little bit of distraction over here. We're looking at what's on the ground, and the soul's saying, what are we going to cut away? What can we do without? The Queen of Swords, she doesn't muck around. You know, sometimes I call her the bitch card of tarot, sometimes the Ice Queen, but she's very smart. She's very savvy. And at times, you know, look, I don't say that she's uncaring, but I say that she's very, she knows what she wants. She knows what she has to get rid of. So here's this push from the universe. And look, we're going to do this as a sequence. This is in the cup. This is what's in this cup here. This is what he's like dreaming about and going, I'm not going to kick over what's in this Three of Swords just yet. But the Queen of Swords, Three of Cups, beg your pardon. The Queen of Swords comes over to say, well, what are we going to get rid of? If you're not sure yet, and I know you're distracted thinking about it, but it's time that we get really, really savvy and not muck around. Let's not be sentimental. Let's get really, really focused. So this is brain and soul, logic and soul talking together to have an effect on what this imagined space is doing, or what they're experiencing, what they're seeing, what they're feeling. And that it shows up as how they're showing up says to me that they're probably being dismissive to people around them. They're probably not giving their relationships their full attention right now, because their soul is busy cutting away what it doesn't need anymore. What is the challenge for the divine masculine right now? It's the Hangman. So when we've got the Hangman, the challenge is to actually set yourself free. The Hangman can reach up at any point, untie his foot, and move on to the next part of his journey, but he really doesn't want to. The Hangman is quite happy to take his time and sit in his thoughts. See this? Happy to sit in his thoughts. What is he thinking about? Whatever this push from the universe is, he's happy to sit. So his challenge is to actually come down out of that Hangman and that it comes through as a challenge. It's that he should, right? He's staying in that hangman position for too long. That he should really reach up and untie his feet and get on the path of mission. What is the advice from Spirit? It's exactly that. Put an end. See here, he's waiting. He's waiting, he's drawing it out, he's thinking, he's having this time and imagination and space. But what he should be doing is what you're doing, accept and surrender. Accept that this journey is happening. Accept that you're moving forward to a brand new day. Surrender to the journey of the divine, or the path of the divine that will lead you back into these harmonious unions. So it really is, and it's like you've got over here, you've got like a religious kind of a figure over here. You've got death and you've got some level of religion playing it. So to me, it's like a level of doctrine when that figure comes out, and it's like put and then understand the doctrine and put an end to the waiting. And I know you're impatient for that day to come, Divine Feminine. You're already there. You're already in accept and surrender. And this is the advice from Spirit. So if you're graduating into the next phase, they're still being advised to get there and to understand what this information is about. What is the likely outcome? It still does not feel like communication, does it? We've got the Five of Pentacles. The likely outcome is he stays out in the cold as you push on to the next chapter, which is, like I said, it's probably going to feel like you really want to communicate and you really want connection, like intimate connection. And this is probably a representation of that as well. Is like, as much as you want those things to tip over, the likely outcome is that it will stay disconnected. You know why? Because you're exercising this part of the journey. You're exercising the part of the journey that says, I am not going to carry this whole burden on my own. I'm not. I'm going to do my part of it, absolutely. But I'm not going to fill the void for you and carry the whole journey on my own. What does that trigger in Divine Masculine? Feeling out in the cold and not actually knowing what to do when you don't fill that void for him. Do you see that sequence? Like it's really hitting me that when you pull your energy away, like what's applied to this one's gonna feel. You get on mission and you get focused about being all about you. The kicker is, well, why did you do that? Where did you go? I'm out in the cold. I need to start to tip in towards the connection if I want to come in from the cold. So leaving the void and getting yourself on mission is like it's a superpower for you at any point in this connection where it's underdone, underbaked. And I'm not to say that this won't lead. I don't feel it will lead to a lot of really healthy communication, but I feel like you will get a real push. Like the urge to communicate will be massive, and this urge to come in out of the cold will be massive. But it still might take a minute for this to actually kick into the next phase of communication. Let's have a look at some Divine Love Oracle. I feel much more organized when Ricky's here. I feel like I'm making a mess of where I'm putting everything. But we'll manage. So Divine Feminine. First, a Divine Love Oracle card for you. Let's have a look and see what we've got. And they are a big deck, so bear with me while I shuffle them and just let the energy settle. And we'll choose a card for Divine Feminine, and then one for Divine Masculine. Oh, there's the puzzle again. We had that in our last reading. Let's have Divine Feminine. What have we got? Dimensions. Oh, I like that. Divine Masculine. What have we got? Always connected. And one for the connection. Thank you, Spirit. Prayer. Oh, nice. Nice. Dimensions. Divine Feminine. Look, this is you right now. This is you on your path of ascension. We exist in, science is telling us that the potential that our consciousness can actually exist in up to 22 different places at once. How cool is that? Now, what I really love about that information is that when you do your meditating, And this is kind of where I was yesterday. So I love that this has come out for Divine Feminine, because I'm still on the path too. I'm still learning and growing every single day. Harmonious union is not the end of the journey, as much as it's it's a nice place to stop and rest. This push does not stop. So I was doing meditations yesterday, and I've come to understand there's a theory out in science that our consciousness can exist in 22 different places at once. So when I meditate, I do my level best to stretch into those other consciousness, or these other versions of myself that are alive and well across different dimensions at any one time. And what I find is that information comes channeling through that I could never possibly hope to know. And then, like, I'll bring it through to the 3D world, and I'll go, wow, what is that all about? And I'll draw the pictures, and I'll write down the information. I'll journal to my heart's content. Like, honestly, this is what that, when we talk about what this masculine energy is, for the push for the feminine, is like, you get up, you meditate, you figure out what it is that they're bringing down, you draw it, you write it down, and then you go out into the world and action it somehow. You find that active representation of it. And what you often find is like, how could you possibly know that? How could you possibly know that that was a thing? Like, I'm not trained in quantum mechanics. I'm not an astrologer. I haven't studied mathematics. But sacred geometry, quantum theory, astrology, all of this comes through these downloads, and I write them down, and I take them out into the world and go, does that ring true? And relentlessly, the information comes back as proven to be true. Now, there's no bloody way I could have known what that stuff is. I haven't studied it. I honestly am just someone who downloads and then goes out into the world and goes, is that true? Has somebody else found this out? So, and then I put it together in sequences that make sense. And it's like I manifest like a mentor in front of me that will go, well, you've got piece A, B, C, D, E, F, G of the puzzle. Let's make an alphabet. So it's like this dimensions right now, if we're talking about what the next push for Divine Feminine is, it's bringing more and more of these concepts down to the earth plane. And if you can access, like, if it's true that we're accessing up to 22 versions, and they reckon it could even be more than that, honestly, like this is kind of just where the science is, and what they're putting forward is theories right now. But I don't know how else to explain the information that I download from those realms, and is that my consciousness is tapping into these other versions where it exists, and my consciousness knows this stuff, and bringing it down to the earth plane has been part of my mission. And then in my very masculine role, I'm going, how do I turn that into something that I can be active with? I bring it out to you, collective. And right now, Divine Feminine, it's by and large it's you, but I am talking to more Divine Masculines as we go, which is exciting. But essentially, this is an exciting push for you to come through in going that this is what the universe is putting upon you, and the Divine Love Oracle comes out and says, explore those dimensions. I've got information for you. Oh, it's a ripper. Now this, coming through for the Divine Masculine, how lovely is this, right? And it is, again, you know, we're leaning into these quantum mechanical ideas of split particles and voids, and that there's you know, in the void it's not nothing. It's there's a connectedness, and you apply a force to one particle that's been split, and then they're up to like 20 miles away now, that the other particle is reacting with that force that's been applied upon it. Twins are no different. And what this is bringing forward to me is, if Spirit is pushing this ideal upon the Divine Masculine of going you, me, and the Divine, here they're starting to understand that you are always connected. Like, however hard they've tried to run away, however far they've tried to push, the push from the universe is going, you'll never outrun this connection. You will always be connected, and there is nothing between you. You are of the same essence and energy. Now that's the kicker to understand. Yes, you are two vessels, right? You are two vessels, but the energetic blueprint with which consciousness was applied, or the cup that scooped you up, was split into two vessels. One soul energy blueprint, two vessels. So it's a big concept to understand. And quantum mechanics, the more you lean into understanding these broader ideals, divine feminine, the more that you understand this to be true, that you are always connected. And when you understand it more, they're going to understand it more. It's a thing, I promise you. Now, this is the push from the universe, is that they do understand that you, the divine, and them all connected as one. And here your divine love oracle, divine masculine, is always connected. So it is a push that's coming through. And our final card is a prayer. Now, there's, like, I'll tell anyone who asks me that I follow the teachings of Christ. Absolutely. And do I use the Lord Prayer when I meditate? Absolutely, I do. It is a one-stop shop for anyone who wants to go into meditation and feels safe. Am I religious? A flat out no. I will study any doctrine that has a basis in spirituality, has a basis of love, and has a basis in kindness. I think that the kicker for why prayer comes out is because you do need to. It is. How do I'm trying to get to the baseline of what I want to express is that there's a bucket load of doctrines out there that are all teaching a baseline understanding about what and who twins are. And when you're exploring these higher realms, honestly, divine feminine, it is important to look after yourself. And for mine, the Lord's Prayer was a one-stop shop on how to say what I needed to say in meditation to feel like I was safe. And yes, we have this idea of white light. We do. But further than this, it's like the understandings of the Christ. And people go to me, and like I express this across, whether it's following Christ's teachings or, any of the doctrines that I follow, and even following twin flame doctrine. And people go, what if you get to the end of your life and it's all bullshit? What if you've lived all this doctrine up to your eyeballs, you've preached it, you've supported, what if it's all crap when you get to the end of your days? My answer to that is I would have lived a better life believing in it. I would have lived a better life believing in unconditional love. I would have lived a better life believing that being kind to people is a good thing. I would have lived a better life seeking the best of people, faith, hope, love as my driving principles. I would have lived a better life having understood this or believe. I don't want to keep saying believing, but I want holding dear these ideals of what twin flame love is, that we can lift the vibration of the planet enough that people are going to live harmoniously. To me, that's something to pursue. And holding the Lord's Prayer dear, there's so much in that prayer that is a one-stop shop of connecting to Christ consciousness, connecting to the Creator. Take away the word religion. Take away the word religion and study doctrines. Learn that the principle for the bulk of them is faith, hope, love, kindness, joy, all of the good stuff. You put that stuff in your heart and you pursue it. Whether you get your twin flame connection at the end of this or not, you will have lived a better life pursuing the ideals that are based in these prayers that these doctrines offered than to not. So when people say, what if you get to the end of your life and it's all bullshit? I go, I would have lived a better life because I believed in the bullshit. So I own that stuff. Got nothing to do with religion, nothing at all, and everything to do with my ideals of chasing faith, hope, and love. So that's it from me. Next time we read, Ricky will rejoin us. And again, if you've listened this far, thank you so much. We would love if you like, share, subscribe, because we're mad keen to help as many twins as we can understand some of the nuances of the journey that we've come to understand. So I think that's about all we've got to offer. Yes, if you do want to reach out to us, we are on Facebook and we are on Instagram, and we really love the conversations that we're having. By and large, it's Divine Feminine who are reaching out, and thank you for trusting us with your stories and trusting us with your vulnerabilities. And because we're trusting you with ours as well. So we are a collective and we are a soul tribe, and I'm so happy to get to know get to know everybody and to be walking this journey with you. Thank you for that privilege. And if you have listened to this information so far, accept and surrender. You know, if you are a twin, own it, live it to your eyeballs, and it will reward you tenfold. Even if the next chapter is a little tough, Ricky and I will be here cheering you on, offering you any insights that we see, the way energy moves, how it will be playing upon you, and anything that you need to sort of, any big road bumps, and definitely reach out to us. Find us on Facebook and Instagram, direct message, and leave your messages on YouTube. We do our best to get back to everybody really, really quickly. But that's it from me. So take care of you, and hopefully we get to talk to you again. In faith, hope, and love. Bye for now.